love this is the theme song to Benson.
You mean the show with Robert Guillaume?
Yeah, and he was the butler to the governor, I do believe.
Is that a spinoff of Soap?
Yeah, you know what? I wonder how you got that information.
I don't know. And I don't remember anything from the 70s except Laverne and Shirley, so I'm surprised I remember this.
I remember this because I'm a musically inclined person. And with this music, it can only mean that we're bringing Guy Benson. Hello, Guy Benson. We miss you. How are you?
Hello. Happy New Year.
Thanks, you too. Now, do you remember the show Benson?
He's 27 years old.
But his last name's Benson. Let him answer the question.
I have heard of it. I have never seen it. I know nothing about it beyond its name, which is beautifully named, I must add.
Yes, it is Guy Benson. So lots going on there in Washington, D.C. The blue wave has taken over. Saw yesterday the first bill that they passed, not going to pass through the Senate, of course, is trying to end this government shutdown. Do you think that there's a possibility that they will trade border wall money in exchange for legal status for dreamers? They meaning President Trump.
Well,
Republicans.
It seemed like that was perhaps in the offing last year, some sort of deal like that. It had not really been discussed very much until late yesterday, this time around, when it was floated by the White House. And I think we might end up seeing that enter the discussion. I think that there's definitely an interest in getting this partial shutdown over with. And I would add, in the past, we've had a couple of these government shutdowns in recent years. They're always partial government shutdowns. This one is more partial than usual. Most of the government, vast majority of the government is funded, but certain elements are not. But I think you're starting to see in the new Congress some impatience, including among some Republicans, to get this off their plate, get the full remaining elements of the government, federal government, up and running and funded. But there is this border security sticking point that you're referring to there, Amy. Mm-hmm. And, I am with the Republicans on substance when it comes to immigration. I don't trust the Democrats on the issue. I don't think they're serious about border security. But I'm willing to concede and look with clear eyes. I think what the Democrats in the House did yesterday is exactly what they should have done, just from a political standpoint. They have passed basically exactly what the Republican Senate passed just last week, unanimously. And they are essentially arguing this is a Republican crafted budget proposal that we are passing. They approved it over across the hall, 100 to nothing. It was a voice vote. Why on earth is this off the table or dead on arrival? We dare you to kill this. We dare the president to veto it. And I think that's actually a smart play from Pelosi. It's exactly, if I were advising the Democrats, they're doing exactly what I would advise them to do.
Memories are short. My attention span lasts from one Trump tweet to the next. I mean, that's it. So that's the problem. It's a new paradigm, I guess, Guy. Now, and Mitch McConnell says we're not going to consider anything unless Trump's going to sign it, and he's not going to sign it, so we're not going to consider it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a tautology, right? So it was okay. It was okay because the president in the White House told McConnell, in late 2018, like literally a week and a half ago, they said, yes, go ahead, bring this bill up for a vote. It's acceptable to us. And so McConnell said, okay. He did it. It passed unanimously. President got blowback from, immigration hardliners, and he sort of decided, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done this, and changed his mind. And the president has every right to change his mind. I think the president was trying to stand up for his central campaign promise. I understand that. But he put his own party in a bind because they're now left arguing that it is utterly unacceptable to pass something that they themselves passed. That's a tricky position to be in politically. Right. But, on the other hand, I'm sorry, but we just saw another tragic example out in California with an illegal immigrant who was arrested multiple times with known gang affiliations, who was basically shielded by the sanctuary laws out there. He just murdered a police officer, allegedly, out in California. And we had another example on New Year's Eve with 150 migrants trying to storm the border, throwing rocks. The idea that the southern border is secure, the immigration system is just fine, is ludicrous. I understand that a wall or a fence in certain areas is not the complete solution to every problem in our immigration system, but I think it's part of the problem. It's the campaign promise on which the president ran and won. And, I'm not a hardliner on immigration, but I think I support a physical barrier. I'm behind what the president proposed last year, which I thought was a very reasonable compromise. And the Democrats, every step of the way, keep saying no. And at some point you start wondering, do they actually care about border security? Do they actually care about DACA? If they're unwilling to do some border security for DACA trade, which seems like a total no-brainer,
Right.
is their obsession with saying no to Trump overwhelming any possibility of reasonable compromise and policy being implemented?
I'm sure you heard Nancy Pelosi yesterday when she said a wall is immoral. And I was like, what is she? Does she not know? Has she not visited the border lately? I mean, we're on vacation, Guy, and we drove from Rocky Point back to Phoenix, and they have a little wall there, but it's not a big wall. It's not the type of wall that is needed to keep people out. So she said she's not going to budge. President Trump doesn't seem like he's going to budge. How long do you think this government shutdown is going to last? And what is it like in D.C.? I mean, is really garbage piling up? Because it keeps showing, the mainstream media shows these garbage cans just overrunning with litter.
Well, I'm looking out my window, and it seems like everyone's still alive here. We're surviving. It's not an ideal situation. They do try to do certain things to make it seem as unpleasant as possible. Look, this could be one of those protracted battles where everyone digs in their heels, or it could be one of those things where all of a sudden events move very quickly, and they're like, these leaders are at the White House, and this part of DACA might be on the table, then all of a sudden there's an agreement. I think trying to make that prediction, particularly with this cast of characters, I'm gonna punt on that one, because it's an unpredictable president, it's unpredictable dynamic. I just want to go back. The statement that walls are immoral is a completely preposterous, unserious, ridiculous thing to say. And one of the best pieces of political messaging I've seen from the White House in a long time was yesterday, where the president came out. Yeah, he came out very briefly. He congratulated Nancy Pelosi on becoming Speaker. No nicknames, no nonsense. He was nice about it. He then pivoted to talking about border security. He made an actual policy argument that was focused. Then he turned it over to the border security guys, the Border Patrol guys, who explained in detail why they support him and why they, in their experience, walls and physical barriers can be very helpful in stemming the flow of drugs and smuggling and human trafficking and all that sort of thing. And to me, it was extremely compelling. Nancy Pelosi should be forced to, and asked questions. You can say walls are immoral. The people whose job it is to secure the border say in significantly trafficked areas, they're actually extremely helpful. That is what the evidence is. And also Democrats in the House and Senate have voted overwhelmingly for hundreds of additional miles of double-layer fencing twice in the last decade. Were those immoral votes? And I wrote a piece at Town Hall yesterday. If Pelosi believes that walls are immoral, should she not demand that all of our existing walls be torn down on a more just on principle?
There's 350 miles already, and this is only another 150 miles. It makes absolutely no sense. And congratulations to the president, who not only didn't insult Nancy Pelosi, but he didn't call any of those Border Patrol guys baldy. So, I mean, he really was resisting all that stuff. But let me ask you this.
They were effective, and they weren't mouthpieces.
I'd like to start an intramural fight, among the conservatives, because that's the favorite part. No less an authority than Bill Kristol yesterday said that Trump just had this dog and pony show in the White House briefing room because he was envious of all the attention on Nancy Pelosi. Agree or disagree? Pardon my John McLaughlin here. Guy Benson.
What has gotten into you?
You're so current. You're so current with all of your references. We can watch Benson, then we can watch the McLaughlin group together.
Okay.
Yeah,
hey, if you don't watch out, Guy, I'm going to throw a William F. Buckley in here. But really, about Bill Kristol.
A William F. Buckley reference is always welcome.
Sure.
I disagree with Bill Kristol. I think that Bill, and I know Bill a little bit, and I think he's a smart guy, and I like him. I think he's gone overboard too often in his criticisms of Trump. I'm not a big Trump guy. I think people who read my work and see me on TV, then they know I'm not a big Trump guy. I don't like how he handles himself in certain issues on a host of things, but I think yesterday, look, the political reality was that Nancy Pelosi took over as Speaker of the House. The Democrats are now in control of the House of Representatives. The political dynamic has changed. We're in the middle of a government shutdown. There's a fight over immigration. Pelosi just came back from her Hawaiian vacation, right? Oh, such a terrible shutdown. Look at all this. The garbage is piling up. The national parks are closed. See ya. I'll be in Hawaii, and I'll come back and give a speech about how important it is to reopen the government. Fine. The President of the United States is still the single most important person in this city, and for him to come out and give a brief comment to the press, right, when he doesn't give comments to the press, when he doesn't come out and, make serious policy arguments, the press says, where's the president? Why does he only tweet? Why is he saying all these crazy things? Why is he insulting these people instead of making policy arguments? Then he comes out and does the things that they say he should do, and, well, he's just jealous of Nancy. It's a no-win proposition for him sometimes. He came out, he congratulated the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi, as he should. That's the magnanimous thing for the leader to do. And then he refocused his argument on the points he wanted to make in a new political environment. There is nothing wrong with that.
Guy, to paraphrase Edmund Burke.
Oh boy, here we go.
Now we're name dropping here. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and you are one of the giants of the future conservative movement and the present conservative movement.
And with that guy, with that profound statement, we're going to end this interview.
I can't drop a bigger name than Edmund Burke.
Guy Benson, thank you so much. You can read his work, political editor for townhall.com, and he's also a Fox News contributor. Thank you so much for joining us, Guy Benson. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, you guys. Happy New Year.
You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.